said, hey, is there any way we could get some help on this? It's just a stall or something like that. And the cops were like, no, it's out of our jurisdiction. It's just, yeah. Yeah, so campus cops, yeah, I'm not a big fan of bad campus cops. Of good cops and of good campus cops and good cops in general, I'm a big fan of. Fishy in the chat room has also said, I have to say this about feminism. I'm glad for the ones who push for better treatment of rape victims. That's a huge positive. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, it should be. It should be like that. You should want to give victims, good, better treatment. There's nothing wrong with trying to protect the name of a rape victim. But there's nothing wrong with that. But you really can't sit there and say that every single woman who cries rape should be believed. I mean, there's a problem there. The Duke Lacrosse case showed that. This UVA case showed this. And, thank God we don't know. I think somebody figured out one name, but not everybody else did. So, thank God. But I need to hit the bottom of the hour or else the boss lady is going to call me up and bash me over the head. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. I'm your host, Taylor Millard. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Mr. President, members of Congress, you've been making a lot of noise about taking our guns away. But you might want to review history. 1835, Gonzales, Texas Territory. The authorities wanted to confiscate the big gun that protected that colony. You know what the people said? Come and take it. Because they were willing to fight for their freedom and their guns. So are we.
Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you think you can. Come and take it, but I warn you, you'll have to pry it from my cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it.
One shot at a time. Just like Gonzales, we're keeping our guns.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis from the Daily Caller, and you are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
This is Alan Bordius of VLR's Their Finest Hour and the Roundtable of Extreme Liberty. And now back to Mr. Forehead himself, Taylor Millard, on the Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. Keep listening, or you'll be the latest on Taylor's Grudge List.
Yes, the famous Taylor's Grudge List, which is probably about to be replaced in one way, shape, or form by Ash Skow's Grudge List. Which is a joke that's just going to keep going and going and going. And Ash was going to be here, but she got to go to a Christmas party, or else I would have had her on to talk about this, because she's really been following this from the very beginning, this entire UVA thing. In fact, Ash, from the Washington Examiner, Ash Skow pointed out on Wednesday that if the Rolling Stone story is false, she said that it could set rape victims back decades. And one of the things that she said was was if it turns out that the men accused don't even exist, and we're assured by Rolling Stone that they do, but their confirmation only seems to come from Jackie's friends who were not in the room that night, then women everywhere who report being raped and who have been fighting for police and universities to take their reports seriously will be severely set back. Now, this is why she said this, and I think she's got a good point here. She's got a really good point. Because Tawana Brawley and the Duke Lacrosse accusations are more well-known than Cheryl Araujo, or Arajo. I don't know how to pronounce that, and I apologize. And if it turns out to be another fabricated or more likely exaggerated story of gang rape, it will be more difficult for rape victims to have their stories believed. Now, she's got a really, really good point there in saying that. And Brian in the chat room also made the comment that today's crop of quote-unquote feminists seem intent on destroying any type of amity between the sexes, using rhetoric and actions to create hostility, not understanding. Brian's got a point. He's got a really good point in saying that, because I think you do see that in some folks out there and some of the feminists out there who aren't interested in, their idea of equality isn't necessarily men and women being on equal terms and women being treated respectively, and men, treating women, like, not as some, scared person, but being partners with them is what I mean. And I think that, Are there situations where guys can do stuff better than women can? Yeah. Are there situations where women can do stuff a hell of a lot better than men can? Yeah. And, it's, the idea of, I think there's the comment of what, a woman's touch or something like that, and that's basically being able to be negotiators. And good negotiators, diplomats, that sort of thing. Now, I could be wrong, and I mean this seriously. I don't want to get backlash on here, and nor do I really want to end up on Amanda Marcotte's crap list. But I wouldn't be surprised if that happened too. But there's a big difference, I think, between feminists saying, hey, we want to be treated equally, and feminists saying, hey, we want to be treated better than men. Fishy in the chat room. Her fecal roster. Thanks, Fishy. Fishy, log on to Skype if you can. I want to get your opinion on this. On whether I'm wrong about that, because now I'm actually in being slightly self-conscious. I actually am worried that I may have misspoken somehow, and we'll end up on Amanda Marcotte's or Media Matters for America's fecal roster. Dustin Hoyt, who's going to be joining us at the top of next hour, is saying they want women to be more equal than men. No, and yeah, I agree there, and I think that is a problem, because honestly, I would rather treat people with based on who they are. Doesn't matter, whether or not that they're man, woman, goat, dog. I don't care. I'd rather treat them regularly, as a normal person, than not. I mean, or a normal person, a person who is a person. I don't care about the rest of it, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. This wouldn't be the first time this week that I have stepped in it, which we will get to we'll get to probably with about after the next break. We'll get to me stepping in it, and I will fess up to having a slip of the tongue this week, in one way, shape, or form of another, which, well, kind of caused a problem between myself and Liz Harrison and probably everyone else. So joining us now, though, is Felicia Cravens, otherwise known as Something Fishy. Fishy, how are you?
Hey, doll. Yeah, there's all kind of minefields that you have to walk when you talk about rape and whatever. And I think it's really disgusting that that's the case. But no matter what you say, you're going to end up on that fecal roster. I'm just telling you that.
Well, I know that I know I have new listeners tonight too, and I don't want to completely scare them away at, oh my gosh, why is he talking about rape?
Well, and this goes back to the whole point of what the left and the progressives are attempting to do is build walls around who can speak to what, so that only women who have been raped or who know about rape experiences can talk about rape, and men have nothing to say about it. The same way that, people of different races can't talk about the experience of people in different races, et cetera. It's sort of that whole, maybe it's a woman thing you wouldn't understand, or the shirt in the 80s it's a black thing you wouldn't understand. It's that whole shutting down of conversation based on your experience level, which is different from a person having empathy for someone. That's completely different. And it drives me crazy because it's that whole privilege thing just under another name.
What's the fight against it? I mean, how do you fight against this sort of thing?
Well, part of it is you have to be talking about common sense things and reaching people that almost everyone can agree with. If a woman has had a traumatic experience like this, she certainly has the prerogative not to report it. There's no forcing a woman to report rape. That would be a society I wouldn't want to live in necessarily, if you're forced to go through the legal process. But you don't get to have that option to say someone raped you without going through that legal process. So people can agree with that statement for the most part. And feminists look really on the outskirts of the edge of logic when they talk like this. So amplifying what they say that is completely out of the bounds of common sense helps people to see them as fringers, helps people see them as way out there. And it keeps that sort of thought from normalizing in the society. And I think that's a huge thing to do. Point out when they're saying outlandish things like you should always believe every woman who ever claims rape. There's no way that anybody can make that statement and go back to the 90s and be a supporter of Bill Clinton and be consistent ideologically.
Yeah. The lead story at Politico right now, thank you, Guy Benson, for tipping me off to this, is called by Julia Horowitz, Why We Believe Jackie's Rape Story. Because it rang true for so many of us on the UVA campus. So
rang true.
Yeah.
It sounds like it could have happened, so I'm going to believe it. In what world does that work? See, that's another part of that, pushing the edge of discussion where people are trying to normalize what they think happened. That's the same thing going on in cases like Ferguson, where people don't know the facts, but they're opining ahead of the facts. It's the same exact modus operandi, and this is what progressives push. It doesn't matter what the truth is; it matters how it fits my narrative.
Yeah, and by the way, the who is Julia Horowitz? You wonder. She's an assistant managing editor at the Cavalier Daily, the University of Virginia student newspaper.
Well, hopefully the students are, particularly the ones who are not ideologically